Good morning, my dear students. In the last class, we discussed some C++ programs using classes and object concept, right? So now we are able to write a C++ program using class and object concept. We worked some 3-4 programs, right? So today we are going to discuss these two topics. First one is array as class member data. Second one is class objects and memory, right? First one is array as class member data, and the second one is class objects and memory. Means how a class, object and memory is related to each other. That thing we are going to discuss in this class. Just observe the first heading, that is array as class member data. Array as class member data. This regarding array we discussed in the first year. What is an array? It is one of the user defined data type which contains similar kind of elements, right? So we discussed the definition of array. Next we discussed one dimensional array, two dimensional array, how to access array elements, right? We discussed some 4 or 5 programs on arrays in the last year, right? So now today array as class member data. It means, just to recall the class. What is a class? Class is a collection of member data, member functions with objects, right? Class is a collection of member data, member functions with objects. Now just observe the sentence. What is the heading? Array as class member data. Array as class member data. It means in the declaration of class, class has member data as well as member functions. So means this heading says that in the declaration of class we can use array as member data. It means in the class assigned object concept we can also use array concept in such a way that array as member data. Means in the class declaration we can declare arrays as member data. Means we can declare array in a private, public, like that, and this array concept is considered as one of the member data. One of the member data. Means now we are going to write on C++ program using this concept. Then it is very easy to you understand what is the mean by array as class member data. Let us consider a very basic array program. That is, what is the basic array program? Accept n elements and display n elements using array, one dimensional array. This is the basic one, right? How to enter n elements into the array, how to display entered n elements from the array. This is the basic program. Now we are going to discuss, or else I am going to write accept n number and display n number from a one dimensional array using the concept of class and object, right? So let us see here which program. I am going to write a C++ program to accept n elements and display n elements from one dimensional array using the concept of class and object, right? So now class, I have to accept n elements and display n elements from the array, right? So that's why I am giving class name as one dimensional array, right? I have to n elements to the one dimensional array and I have to print or display n elements from the array, right? So that's why I am taking class name class one dimensional array, OD array, open bracket, private, right, int. First I have to accept n elements, right? Therefore take n, one variable I, and next, so see, this is the concept a of 50, right? This is nothing but declaration of one dimensional array. Just observe here where I declared this array in private section of class called OD array. It means array as class member data. This is the topic. Array as class member data. These are what? Class member data, right? In the class member declaration, I am going to use array. It is possible to use array. That's why the heading is array as class member data, right? And next, public. Here I have to consider two functions, that is one input function to accept n elements and one display function to print n elements or display n elements. Therefore consider in public section void input function cout enter the limit of the array C in n, or else you can say enter the limit of the array athwa ನಾವೇನು ಅನ್ಬೋದು ಎಂಟರ್ ದಿ ಸೈಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅರೇ, ರೈಟ್? ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಬೇಕೋ ಆ ಥರ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ನ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಎಂಟರ್ ದಿ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅರೇ ಅಥವಾ ಎಂಟರ್ ದಿ ಸೈಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಅರೇ, ರೈಟ್? ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಎನ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಎಂಟರ್ ಎನ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಅರೇ. Which syntax we have to use? Accept n elements into the array means we have to use for loop, right? First year concept, cout enter n elements for I is there, okay? For I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, C in A of I. Close the bracket. Close the bracket. Right? So means suppose enter the limit of the array. Limit n is 5 means what is the next sentence? Enter 5 elements 5 elements into the array, then each elements are going to be stored from a of 0 to a of 4, because n is 5 means last element become n minus 1, a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, a of 3, so on, a of 4, right? When n becomes I becomes 4 less than 5, yes, a of I means a of 4, a of 4 means fifth element is going to be stored in a of 4, I plus plus I becomes 5 less than 5, no, it comes out from for loop. Like that, suppose the limit is 5 means 5 elements are going to be stored from a of 0 to a of 4, then it comes from input function. Next we have to display it, right? So consider void display function cout array elements are so use for loop for I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus cout a of I set w of 6 closing of display function, closing of display function. So this input function is to accept n elements into the array, this display function is to display n elements from the array, right? Now the data declaration of data member data is over, declaration of the member function is over. Now close the class with semicolon, and the next step is to write main function. Therefore void main open flower bracket, a very first step in the main function is declare object. How object is going to be declared? With the help of class name. So class name is OD array, one dimensional array, OD array space object. I am going to declare obj as name of the object. Now with the help of object you call the member functions of class OD array, that is obj dot input function, obj dot display function, get close the main function, get and close the main function, right? So this is what C++ program to accept n elements into the array, into the one dimensional array, and display n elements from the same one dimensional array using the concept of object and class and object, right? So just observe here, I am going to explain how it is going to be executed. So as usually execution starts from a main function. First step object declaration is done here, means this obj as object of class OD array. Next obj dot input function, so cursor comes to input function, enter the limit of the array. What is printing? Enter the limit of the array, right? Limit of the array. Next I am going to write 5 as limit. Next enter 5 n elements, means n value 5, therefore enter 5 elements. I am going to write here slash, then it comes next line, enter 5 elements enter 5 elements. Okay, so here endl is not there. 5 elements what we are going to enter, they are going to be displayed in the same line. Enter 5 elements. 1 2 3 4 5, right? And afterwards void main close, it comes to once again main function. In the main function, object dot display function. What is there? Object dot display function. Then cursor goes to display function of the class. Here what is there? I am putting here slash n. So this line is printing in the next line. Array elements are right, endl is there, so cursor comes here. Array elements are, right, for loop for I equal to 0, I less than 5, 0 less than 5, yes, it comes here. Cout a of I means whenever I am going to enter these 5 elements, these are going to be stored in a of 0 to a of 1, a of 2, a of 3, a of 4, right? So here in the first case what happens? 0 less than 4, yes, a of 0, Cout means it is printing which one? A of 0. What is there in a of 0? A of 0 contains 1. Next, set w. I think just I forgotten here header files, right? We have to take here header files. Hash include iostream.h, hash include conio.h. Here I have to consider one more one more header file for this program, that is hash include io manip.h, because I am using here setw function as well as I am using endl. So whenever we are going to include endl as well as setw function, we have to include a related header file called io manip.h, right? Because this setw of 6 means it going to provide 6-bit space, right? So it means here a of 0 means a of 0 contains 1, this 1 is printing. Afterwards setw of 6 means it gives a 6-bit space and it prints a of 1, a of 1 means 2, 6-bit space, a of 2 means 3, so on, a of 3 means 4, setw of 6 means a of, when a of I value becomes 4 less than 5, yes, a of I means a of 4 means 5 is printing, right? 5 is printing. Next I becomes I plus plus means I becomes 5. 5 less than 5, no, it comes out. It comes out from display function. Then it comes once again main function. In the main function there is no any object dot member functions. Therefore next get function is there, program ends. Therefore what is printing here? This is the final result of the program. Enter the limit of the array 5. Enter 5 elements. I am entering 1 2 3 4 5. You can enter any 5 integer elements, right? Next array elements are 1 2 3 4 5. So this program represents accept n elements into the array, display n elements from the array using the concept of class and object, right? Using the concept of class and object. Here what we learned new thing means we can declare array as class member data. Array as class member data means simple thing. In the class we can also declare array as member data. In the previous what we discussed in the previous class, just we are able to declare data members, means just we are declaring variables, right? But we can declare array as data member. That is today's topic, right? So this program clearly shows that we can declare array as class member data. Array as class member data. Like this, try to write a array concept program in this manner. Means in the class and object concept we can also include arrays as class member data, right? Just go through reader, you can refer or else you can observe some other programs related to array as class member data concept. Is it clear? Okay. Now next heading is class objects memory. What is that? Second heading, class objects and memory. Means we know already what is the mean by a class, what is the mean by a object, what is the mean by a memory. What is a class? Class is one of the user defined data type. It contains member data, member functions as well as objects, right? What is an object? Class variables are referred as objects or instance of class. Objects are also called instance of classes. Okay, and the next thing is memory. This is the very basic concept we discussed regarding memory, types of memory in the first year, right? So here let us see what is a memory. It is a space in a system to store information, right? So second topic is class objects and memory. Here what we are going to observe means whenever we are going to declare a class with member data as well as a member function, there is no memory allocation. There is no space allocated in the memory for those data member as well as those member functions. This is the concept. So when a memory is allocated, whenever we are going to declare a class with member data, member function, then there is no memory space is allocated for those member data as well as member functions. So when the memory is allocated for those members of a class, whenever you are going to declare objects for the class, then memory is allocated for the members of class. This is the relation between class, objects and memory. Listen here, what I am going to say means, see here, this is the class, right? Class, one dimensional array, and you are going to declare a class with member data and member functions, and you are closing the class. Here class ends, right? Then there is no memory allocated for these integer variables. Means these member data, there is no memory allocated. There is no memory allocated for this input function as well as display function. So when the memory is not going to be allocated, means how data is going to be stored, where it is going to be stored, right? So he says that whenever we are going to declare a class with the members, that is, it may be data member or member function, there is no memory allocated for those declared members. Memory is going to be allocated for those members if and only if whenever you are going to declare objects for that class, means you are going to declare objects here, right? Obj is the object of this class. At this time, memory is going to be allocated. It means whenever you are going to declare a class with the members, it may be data member or member function, there is no memory allocated. Memory allocated if and only if whenever you are going to declare objects for the class. It is clear? Means whenever you are going to declare a class, then there is no memory allocated. Whenever you are going to define a class with the objects, then the memory is going to be allocated for members of a class. This is the concept. And he says that whenever you are going to declare objects of a class, then memory is allocated for only class members. Whatever the class members are there, for those class member, memory is going to be allocated, and memory is never going to be allocated for the member functions. Here we use the input function and the display function. Even though declaration of objects of the class, memory is not going to be allocated to the member functions. Memory is going to be allocated only member data after declaration of objects. Is it clear? Means after declaration of object, for that object, memory is going to be allocated. Now now let us see one program, and afterwards I am going to explain what is happening here. See here, just I am going to explain with diagram this concept. Suppose a student class is there with the data member, name of the student, address of the student, marks of the student, combination of the students, like this, and class student and this class student has member functions like input function, display functions, with data member like register number, name of the student, address of the student, combination of the student means students, and you are going to declare two objects, that is S1 and S2 objects are declared for the class, means those S1 object has a copy of data member, that is register number, name, address, marks. And whenever you are going to declare object S1 and S2, it is also one object, means it also has copy of data member, register number, name, address, marks. It means whenever you are going to declare a class with the data member, register number, name, address, marks, member functions, input function, display function, then there is no memory is going to be allocated inside the computer. Whenever you are going to declare objects for that class, for example, S1 and S2 are the objects of class student, means then for each object memory is going to be allocated. That is, each object have a copy of data member. For these data member, memory is going to be allocated. Memory is going to be allocated, and there is no memory is going to be allocated for the member functions. If these objects need a member function, means they can share the member functions. They can share the member functions, right? We discussed in the basics of classes and objects, right? Member functions are going to be shared by objects, but each object has a copy of member data. So like this, whenever you are going to declare objects for the class, for those objects memory is allocated. That is, for int is there, means 2 byte. Int is there, means 2 byte memory is allocated. Long is there, means 4 byte memory is allocated. Float is there, means then also 4 byte memory is allocated, right? Char is there, means 1 byte memory is allocated, right? This is the basic concept we discussed in the first year, right? Now let us see a program that represents how much memory is going to be allocated for the object S1. How much memory is going to be allocated for the object S2, and total how much memory is allocated for the class student. Okay, this is very interesting. Let us see how it is possible. See here what I am going to write. I am going to create a class called student with some data member functions, and I am going to declare 2 objects for the class, and afterwards I am printing the memory of, I am going to finding the memory of allocated for the object S1. I am going to find out the memory allocated for the another object S2, and afterwards I am going to check the memory allocated for the overall class student. Okay, let us see. And for this we need a function size of. Size of is a function which is used to find the memory allocated for the object as well as memory allocated for the function, memory allocated for the class. Okay, size of is a function which is going to find the memory allocated for the object, memory allocated for the class, memory allocated for the variable, right? Let us see. Let us see the program. student, right? Consider header file iostream.h, conio.h, iomanib.h. Next, private, declare the data members, int marks char name of 20 char address of 40 long register number next one char combination of 6, right? Now consider public, consider member functions, void input function, void display function. Okay, just consider member functions in public. Now close the class with a semicolon, and next step is to write code of for main function. Void main function. In the very first step, main function is declare objects for the class. Class name is student, object s1 comma s2, means we can declare n number of objects for the class. Therefore I am declaring here 2 objects for the class student, s1 comma s2. Next, clear screen, clr scr clear screen function, cout size of object s1 is equal to size of s1, right? cout, or else write endl size of object s2 is equal to size of second object s2, endl, right? Endl. Next one is cout size of class student is equal to, right? So here size of class means class contains object s1 s2. Therefore we have to write means size of object s1 means it is going to find the memory allocated for the object s1. Size of object s2 means it is going to find the memory allocated for the object s2. Size of class student means don't write size of class name, size of student, don't write. So what we have to write, it is not giving result. What we have to write, see, class contains object s1 and s2. So we have to find size of object means we have to write size of s1, size of s2 respectively. We have to find the size of the class means we have to add all the objects, because class contains objects. If we are adding size of all object means that becomes size of class. Therefore we have to write size of class student is equal to size of S1 plus size of S2 get close, get and close. Now see here what happens. You see here we declared int marks, means integer variable. How much byte of memory is allocated? 2 byte memory is allocated, 2 byte memory is allocated, right? It is a character, name of 20 means 20 byte allocated, address 40 means 40 byte memory is allocated, register number, long register number means 4 byte memory is allocated, 4 byte memory is allocated, combination 6 char means 6 byte memory is allocated. So how much it is? 40 plus 20, 60, 60 plus 10, 70, total 72 byte. 72 byte memory is allocated whenever you are going to declare objects. Whenever you are going to declare objects, for each object, that is S1 as well as S2, for each object 72 byte of memory is allocated. And whenever you are going to declare objects for the class, then memory is allocated to only data members of the class. There is no memory allocated for these member functions. There is no memory allocated for these member functions. These member functions are shared by each object. Only memory is allocated to the data members. Data members, right? So therefore total memory for the data member is 72 byte. So whenever you are going to declare objects, each object has 72 byte of memory allocation. There is no memory allocated for the member functions. Therefore I written here size of object S1 is equal to, how to find the size of object? Using the function size of function. So therefore I written here size of S1. S1 is the object. So how much memory is allocated for each object? 72 byte. Therefore we are getting result size of object S1 is equal to 72 byte. Size of object S2 is equal to 72 byte. Size of class student is equal to size of S1 plus size of S2. Means size of S1 means 72, size of S2 means 72. That is total 144 byte of memory is allocated for the class student, right? What is a class? Class is a collection of data member functions and objects. So we have to find the memory allocated for the class, means we have to add memory allocated for the class objects. Therefore I written here size of S1 plus size of S2. So whenever you are going to try to write this program and you are going to execute it, you get finally result as size of object S1 is equal to 72 byte, size of object S2 is equal to 72 byte, size of object, size of third one is size of class student is equal to 144 byte. Here I am not writing, I am not written a byte word, right? In cout it is missing. You consider it, right? Size of object S1 is equal to size. What I am going to say? Here I am not written byte in cout statements. Just I written size of object S1 is equal to size of S1, means it is printing size of object S1 is equal to 72, size of object S2 is equal to 72, size of class student is equal to 144. So actually we have to print each cout statement include a one word called byte, B-I-T-E, because memory is measured in byte. So therefore add size of object S1 is equal to size of S1 less than in double quotation byte less than NDEL. Just include byte word in each cout statement, then you get final result. Size of object S1 is equal to 72 byte, size of object S2 is equal to 72 byte, size of class student is equal to 144 byte. So like this, what we discussed in this class. In this class we studied array as class member data as well as relation between class, object and memory. Okay, student, just try to write this program and execute in a system. In the next class we meet with a new topic. Thank you.